Taxation is one of the most difficult subjects in law school because most of us in law school are not accountants. Lahat ng libro natin sa taxation ay gawa ng mga CPA. Ang paraan ng kanilang pagpapaliwanag ay mula rin sa pananaw ng isang CPA. Doon naman din tayo nagkakawalaan, kapatid. Dito na tayo nahihirapan, dito na tayo naliligaw at kadalasan dito na rin tayo tinatamad mag-aral. Taxation 1 is part of taxation, the second subject in the second Sunday of the bar. In one of our earlier episodes, I mentioned that as a general rule, professors will not fail a student because of some whimsical, capricious, and arbitrary reason. Professors will only flunk a student if and only if the student gives his or her express or implied consent. Babagsak ka lang kasi ginusto mong bumagsak kung sasagot ka ng sobrang hula sa isang tanong na sobrang basic lang naman. Implied ang consent mong bumagsak kung hindi ka nagpapapasok or for whatever reason, papasok ka ng walang alam. In this two-part episode, I'll be sharing with you my income taxation cheat sheet. I'll explain to you my methods for answering the basic questions on taxation, what books to read, and what concepts you have to be solid on. Here's what to expect in law school for Taxation 1, coming right up. This episode is brought to you by the Lex in Motion merch store, where the perks and perils of being a law student through graphic tees and statement shirts help us help others more now and in the future. Even better, make a direct donation to the charities we support. Both links in the description below. Hi, my name is Lex and welcome to Lex in Motion. In this channel, I'll be helping you build your competence, confidence, and capability in law school. Start today by hitting the subscribe button below. New episodes are posted every Friday. Taxation 1 covers two areas of taxation. The first is the general principles of taxation and second, income taxation. The general principles of taxation are easy to learn but hard to master. The best advice in learning taxation I received was from Attorney Al Conrad Espaldon. He's one of the lawyers who are petitioning the Supreme Court on the question of the constitutionality of the Legal Education Board and the PhilSat. I hope you can find the time to follow this case because our interest in it is direct and primary. Ang payo ni Attorney Espaldon ay huwag magpanik. Barista na daw siya nung naintindihan niya ang tax. Ibig sabihin, it is theoretically possible, kapatid, na makatapos ka ng law school ng sapat lang ang alam mo sa tax. Ang payo niya, stop thinking of taxation as tax. Huwag magpauna sa takot, kaba at math anxiety. Think of Taxation 1, particularly the general principles, as Constitutional Law 3. Think of the cases as an extension of the cases we have learned in Consti 1 and Consti 2. The cases on local government will also be repeated to a certain extent in the general principles of Tax 1. When it comes to materials, I highly recommend the textbook of Justice Di Maampaw. Ilang exam na ang natawid ko sa mabilisang basa sa libro niya. Second place, get the book of the Seal. The textbook of Mamalateo is also good, especially sa VAT. May kasabihan nga kami noong araw, in Mamalateo, we trust. When you study tax, you will need to learn taxes based on three laws. You have the NIRC or the National Internal Revenue Code as amended by the Train Law, the Local Government Code of 1991, and the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act or CMTA. Turo din ni Attorney Vic Canyoneo, who really needs all of our prayers right now, is that income is all wealth that flows into the taxpayer other than a mere return on capital. Income is any increase in the net worth other than a mere return on capital. The law does not distinguish between the source. It can be illegal or legal. It can be in cash or in kind. So long as there is an increase in the net worth, income na yan, kapatid. Now let me tell you a little story about my family. My second sister, pumangalawa sa aming magkakapatid, ay isang supervisor sa isang kasino. Ang kinikita niya ay yung kanyang sweldo sa kasino. Ang tawag sa kanya sa NIRC ay Compensation Income Earner. Ang panganay naman namin ay hindi na pinagtatrabaho ng husband niya. Kadalasan sa bahay siya, naghahatid ng mga pamangkin ko sa school. Kapag ang mga bata nasa school na, kumikita ang ate ko sa pagbebenta ng mga orchids. Wala siyang boss, kaya ang tawag sa kanya ng NIRC ay Self-Employed Individual, Engaged in Trade or Business. On the other hand, my brother is a clinical psychologist. Meron siyang clinic sa isang hospital in my hometown. Maliit lang ang rental niya sa hospital. Ang tawag sa kanya ng NIRC ay self-employed individual engaged in a profession. 2 years later, inalok siyang magturo ng isang university malapit sa hospital. Medyo malaki rin ang teaching load niya. When he began teaching at the local university, his status as a taxpayer changed from self-employed professional to mixed income earner. Meron siyang income as a clinical psychologist and compensation income as a professor. Ako naman, I am also a mixed income earner. I am earning compensation income as an employee of a small engineering company. I am also earning income from trade and business sa paglalako ng chicharon, balot at minsan leche flan. My father, on the other hand, is also a mixed income earner. He is earning compensation income as the president of his engineering company. He is also earning as a self-employed professional when he is consulting with other companies. He is also earning income from trade or business because after all, he owns the corporation. The law treats corporations as having a personality distinct and separate from the owners. A corporation is an artificial or juridical person and it earns income from trade or business only. Walang corporation na nakakagraduate ng school. Yung engineering company ng tatay ko, yan ay may income tax din yan. From trade or business only. Ang nanay ko naman, for her part, hindi na siya nagtatrabaho. Sa bahay lang siya at tuwing dumadalaw kami sa bahay, ay nag-aabot kami ng aming mga sweldo sa kanya. Hindi naman niya ginagastos pa except kung lalabas sila ng mga apo niya. Kadalasan nasa bangko lang. Yung interest ng deposits niya, whether sa savings account, checking account, or time deposit, tinuturing yan ng NIRC bilang income. Many years ago, nung namatay ang lolo ko, pinamanahan niya ang nanay ko ng lupa. Actually, dalawa. Yung una ay yung bahay nila growing up. Another is a farm that she leases out. Ang munisipyo nila noong araw ay may valuation doon sa lupa. Over several decades, tumaas na ang value ng lupa niya to the point na noong may magtatayo ng subdivision doon sa baryo nila, lumobo ang value ng lupa. Prior to the sale, there is no capital gain. Wala pang benta. So natural wala pa. Noong naibenta, doon papasok ang capital gains. The difference between the fair market value at the time she inherited the properties and the fair market value at the time of sale represents capital gains. If for whatever reason bumagsak ang presyo, yan naman ang capital loss. Ordinary assets on the other hand can warrant ordinary gains or ordinary losses. Ang tawag sa tubo ay ordinary gains, ang tawag sa lugi ay ordinary loss. There is one other source of income under the NIRC and that is royalties. Royalties can come as the income from inventions, also called ordinary royalties. On the other hand, royalties can also come in the form of literary and musical compositions. One of the things occupying my mind is finishing my book entitled The Lost Law Student's Field Guide to Taxation. If you're happy with the discussion so far, I need you to pause this video and hit the like button so I'll know that you want to see this book come into print. Kung may kikitain yung book ko, that will be literary royalties under the NIRC. Finally, the NIRC teaches us that there's one more source of income and that is the prizes and winnings from games of chance. I'm happy to share that no one in our family has a gambling problem. Tulad ng marami sa atin, may mga taon na masagana ang isa or down ang isa o dalawa. Sa mga pagkakataon na yan, we carry each other the way you or your friends carry the team sa ML. All of the taxes in the NIRC are purely transactional. There will only be a tax if there is a change of hands of goods or services are performed. Wala pang tax kung walang pasyente ang kuya ko. Wala ring tax kung wala pang nabebentang orchids ang ate ko. The best framework for taxation is to trace each and every one of the transactions involved. Gains and losses are realized if and only if the asset is sold. Tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, the gains and losses are based only on the fair market value at the time of the sale. The purchase price o yung presyo ng pagkabili ay irrelevant yan. If the transaction is below the fair market value, the government cannot collect income tax. Walang income walang nadagdag. However, the government will run after the seller through donor's tax or estate tax. Perhaps the only transaction that is not subject to tax is the donation in favor of the government. In order to understand the transactions, we have to ask ourselves the following questions. 1. Did the person receive anything from whatever source? If yes, we move on to the next question. 2. Is it income? If no, are you sure that it is a mere return of capital? If you are not sure, then it is income. 3. Is the income taxable? If no, are you sure? If yes, then we move on to the next question. If the income is taxable, what kind of tax is applicable? Next week, we'll take a look at the kinds of taxpayers in the NIRC. We will also look at the kinds of taxes. And I'll share with you my income taxation cheat sheet that will hopefully help you answer the problems in income taxation. Thank you so much for watching. Like and share this video for good law school karma, and I will see you next Friday.